Today we're going to talk about insulin resistance and diabetes. So diabetes is an epidemic that is spreading over a lot of countries, especially with the kind of diets we eat these days, the processed foods we are eating. One of the first signs of diabetes, so diabetes does not show up in your blood for about 9 to 10 years. So you may be having underlying diabetes, but you're not aware of it. Risk factors for diabetes: family history of diabetes, Southeast Asian background, and obesity. So we've gone through these number of famine during the British Empire in India, for example, that has put us through about 60 plus famine apparently in the 3 centuries there were, and that changed the genetic coding in our body. So we are more prone to look out for high calorie diet, so it can be stored. It's in our genetic coding, the fear of famine, and we tend to eat high calorie diet, and that is what we need to stop. Ethnically, our life was about, yes, we did eat a lot of rice, but we also worked hard. A lot of physical labor was involved. A lot of long hours of walking was involved in our great-grandparents. None of these things we do anymore. We get in a car from point A to point B, we travel and then come back, cook a meal for our family, and live a very sedentary lifestyle. And I have done this as well, I must say, especially when you have young kids. So there are things you need to change to avoid developing diabetes. Diabetes is basically high levels of sugar circulating in your blood, damaging the blood vessels that supply blood to your brain, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, and even causing damage to your nerves. You see how diabetic patients complain about numbness in their feet and lack of feeling. It is from damage to the nerves, and they can also develop ulcers, can even lead to amputation of the leg. So it is a very serious medical condition. So one of the first signs you will see is signs of insulin resistance. What are the signs you would look for? I would look for excessive hunger. You want to eat all the time. It is unusual for you. I would look for excessive thirst, which is you're drinking too much. It's not that hot. You're excessively reaching out for water. You notice hair growth in your body. It is called hirsutism. So excessive hair growth, especially for women, around their face. It can also be a sign of polycystic ovarian disease, which is another condition that develops from insulin resistance, but we are talking about diabetes today. You can develop these skin lesions called skin tags around your neck, under your armpits. Often people with larger body habitus, you can see this. You also develop this pigmentation around your neck. It's called acanthosis nigricans. So I'm going to put pictures of this so you guys know what I'm talking about. That is a risk, that is a signal that you are in insulin resistance. You would also look for signs like brain fog, so your memory is poor, you can't remember certain things. Excessive sugar in your blood can make you to do that. You're tired all the time. One of the common signs that patients present looking for diabetes is fatigue. You also feel that you are losing muscle, or you're putting on excessive weight. So these are signs I would look for, and I would reach out to my doctor to get treated. There are different types of diabetes. There's autoimmune diabetes, which is type 1. Often you see it in children. There's a few other types of diabetes. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just talking about type 2 diabetes today. What can you do to stop yourself from diabetes even though you're at high risk? So I can tell you about myself. I have my father's side in India, my mother's side in India, both have diabetes with diabetic complications, including heart attacks. So these are things that made me think about, how do I want my genetic, my next generation to go on, and I do want them to be healthy. So some of the things that I did, I've never given sugar in any of the drinks in my children's. For example, when they were babies, I never added any Bonvita, any Horlicks, any added sugar to their milk. They're like a blank slate. What you give is the habit they develop. So they don't need to know the taste of excessive sugar. They don't need to know the taste of excessive Horlicks, and they're all foods with high calorie, high content of sugar, and preservatives. So that is one thing I did, and even to this date, my kids don't add any sugar. They don't even drink coffee and tea. My son maybe once in a while, but there is no sugar added to it. Number 2, avoid eating in places that are fast food, like processed food. Don't eat packet of chips, the things that you buy in the shopping center that is ready to eat. Avoid eating them. Also avoid buying food from places like McDonald's, Kentucky Chicken. These are things that you should not make it a habit for your kids. Don't buy soft drinks in the house. I generally don't buy any juice in my house. Juice is a no good food for you. Get children to go into the habit of eating wholesome fruits. That is a habit you can give them, and that's very good because you get the fiber, you get all the micronutrients. I often see patients coming to my clinic complaining about their children that they don't like home cooked food. Well, if you don't give them another choice, nobody is going to starve. This is a country that, everyone has got enough food. So give them a choice. They have what's cooked at home, which is wholesome, rather than trying to compensate with takeaway food. Takeaway food is a no-no. If you really have to, keep it as a treat once a week, I would suggest. And I would also see patients coming and saying, she does not eat anything. And then when I ask parents to come back with a food diary, you can see that. So you've got to ask them to quantify the food as well. The amount of food in there that is so high for the age of the child, and it's not even wholesome. So try and get them into the habit of eating fresh vegetables. I know, when I first came to Australia, I didn't like how the tactileness of the green veggies sat on my tongue, and I had to get used to it. We can learn everything. If we prioritize our health, we can learn to eat other things. We can change our habits. We don't have to stick to our pile of rice, pile of morugari and a fish fry. This is a very Malayali diet that I still see parents feeding their kids, and it's like a compulsory dinner. I would highly recommend against that. The habits we give the children is what is going to go on in later life. I've seen parents explaining, but he needs the energy to study. He will eat. You just have to monitor it. Make sure there's healthy choices in the fridge. Don't give them other choices. And don't ask them to eat a pile of rice for energy, please, because obesity in childhood is very difficult to eat. When you are young, when you're bigger, you might look very cute, but it is a recipe for disaster. You might see movie stars were chubby when they were children, and then when they're adults, they're fit. That's not normal. That's because they have a team working with them, dietitians, nutritionists, exercise physios, trainers, and habits that you develop as a child is going to stick with you for a long time. So it is a request to all of you there, be mindful of what you eat, keep a healthy lifestyle, exercise. Resistance training is a big thing. Cardio may not be something everyone can pick up later on in life, so I highly recommend weightlifting. Be safe about it, but something that is very good is resistance training, such as Reformer Pilates. I highly recommend it. It's what changed my body structure and my metabolism and gave me lean muscles. So it's this machine with springs on it, which is much safer than going and lifting weights. Yoga, if you're doing it right with your body weight, maybe, but I don't consider that resistance training. It's just flexibility of your body is what yoga is about. So please exercise, eat well, and thank you for watching, guys. Take care of yourself, because that's the only, health is the only wealth we can guarantee. Let's go, princess. I'm going to get down. Mommy's going to get down, okay? Come on. You can jump.